Hello, hello. My name is Michelle Copeland, and this is my cartographic project slides. Let's get into it. So about this project, I wanted to choose a theme for my maps that would really mean something to me, as the underlying question we were presented with was, what is your personal sense of place? I decided to go with actual places that I'd like my family to live one day, which really opened up the world to my map making. I chose this because my sense of place is my family. My husband and our boys are everything to me. I wanted to choose places that offered a safe and healthy atmosphere while also being culturally rich. I was able to research some of these countries, all of these countries, um, which allowed me to create meaningful maps that are also aesthetically pleasing. So here are the maps. So the first country that I researched is Denmark. And according to the World Happiness Report, happiness is closely linked to factors like levels of caring, freedom to make life decisions, social support, generosity, good governance, honesty, health and income, social equality, and community spirit. The cool thing about Denmark is they rank very highly on this scale. Um, I wanted to represent that in this one. I have all of 5 regions, which we would say here in the United States are counties. Um, I wanted to show that even though there are 5 counties in this very small country, um, if you look it up, they all are united. They are not like one county feels this way about things, or one region, I should say, feels this way about things, and one region feels this way. It's all one Denmark. I thought that was really cool, and the cohesiveness of this country, along with the fact that the people here are very kind and generous and welcoming. The Netherlands, man, the Netherlands is too cool. They obviously have the tulip fields and Amsterdam, of course, the Anne Frank House, the Van Gogh Museum. But on top of that, they have little bike roads, not just bike lanes, but bike roads that are specifically and only for bicycles. They also have a really extensive railway system, which is what's represented here. And you'll see that each of the railroad systems interconnect with a very populated city. So both these things really allow the people in the Netherlands to not really need to own cars. They literally have the ability to use public transportation um, of some sort. And I just think that's really cool. And I think it's really interesting that it's something that they really have focused on there. Also, it's just the people there are very happy, and they just all seem content, I guess is a good way for me to say that. France, this is actually a country I have visited. Um, People are mostly drawn to France because of cuisine, obviously the culture, fashion's huge there, but they also have a really beautiful countryside. And then people always say, "Oh, you're romanticizing Paris or whatever." Like, you feel that though when you're there. You feel like this romantic vibe, I guess you could say, because I feel like there just was a lot of love there. They can get a bad rep sometimes, but I don't know. I had good experiences while I was there. I chose to do the airports because France actually happens to be the most visited country in the world, which makes sense. There's a lot to see, there's a lot to do there, um, and it's just kind of one of those places that draws you in. Norway. Why would I want to? No, Norway's beautiful. Norway's the people there are amazing. The government's amazing. Man, Oslo would be like awesome to live in. Um, so they have fjords there. They obviously have their Viking culture, which I think is just too cool. Little fishing villages. Um, I really love any Scandinavian country, but Norway just I love it too. Also, the shape of it's super unique, and I thought that was cool. And I didn't realize that down in that subset map, there's actually like a northern part that's not connected to the mainland of Norway. That's up there, and it actually has a port too. But I chose to do ports because not only do they get goods and stuff that way, and they have fishing, a lot of fishing there, but they also are known to have a high like tourist cruise line. industry there. So you have a lot of those ports being used for cruises as well. Ireland, one place that in Europe that I haven't been able to go, that I think would be really cool. I feel like that's a next destination trip. But um, Ireland has really passionate people, um, and they have fun with their music and their dancing, obviously pubs. Um, but they also have really cool sports there, like different types of sports than we have here, which I think is really interesting. Um, you're gonna find really down to earth people here. The only thing that is a little like I picked the most populated cities for Ireland because in the last 20 years, there's been a huge boom for migrants to Ireland, which is awesome. They're allowing that and that they, let people come in, but it has caused some issues in that sense. But it has created these really um, populated cities, whereas a lot of them used to kind of be just smaller towns. But you'll see on here that most of those are in the coastal region, and on the east side, towards like the UK and stuff, which I thought was interesting. This was a fun map to make. This is Australia, obviously, it says Australia. I made this in Incarnate, which is like a fantasy map world making tool that I kind of really fell in love with this semester, didn't even know existed. So I thought it was really cool. I created this, I drew it out, which was fun because, Australia is always referred to as Scooby Doo head with the little tag down there for Tasmania. But the accuracy of like vegetation and stuff's a little bit off because it's not as vegetated as the kind of what I put on there. But I did want to show where Alice Springs was right in the middle of the country, and then show that also along the coast that's where most people live because that's where you're going to find the most vegetation. So you got Perth, Darwin up north, Melbourne and Sydney, Adelaide, and then obviously Tasmania is just a little the green little token and down there. The cool thing about Australia that especially me as a teacher, I can really and a parent can really get behind is that they just passed a law stating that anybody 16 and younger cannot have social media. And wow, that's truly amazing. And I wish that we could do that here because I see it all the time, bullying happening on social media. Um, Kids just they're not grown enough and they don't have the brain power to really understand what they're doing and sometimes they do and they do it purposely, but really understand what they're doing by posting certain things. So I love that they have that law, but they also have really strict gun laws as well, which is something again as a teacher and parent I really wish we had here in the States because man, that would just alleviate a lot of stress and anxiety from me going to work or sending our kids to school because of everything that's been happening in our country recently. Um, but Australia just it's a goal. That's a goal right there. England. I have been to England. I've been to London. I've been to the northern part of England, by Liverpool. I actually have family that lives up there. But man, it's just too cool. Like I chose to do this little mini figure set of like I guess you could say like the buildings of London. So there's like Big Ben, London Bridge, um, and then you also or Tower Bridge. I'm sorry, Tower Bridge, and then you have I can't remember what the little white building's called, but it's where the king used to like keep his horses stabled way back in the day. But I chose to do kind of represent this in this way because architecture is massive in England. You can see all the modern stuff, but then you also can see all the stuff that they've preserved from like Roman, Anglo-Saxon, or Gothic, Tudor, Baroque eras. I know this sounds maybe nerdy, but I took a lot of pictures of doors while I was there because it just had the coolest doors. Like I don't know, it was just a thing that I like fell into while I was there. But the people there are also truly amazing. I went to London. It did not feel like a big city. It felt more like yes, it felt big, but it didn't feel that big. And I just thought that was kind of cool. Like, yeah. All right, my last map is actually an animation. It's a little GIF I made of Switzerland. This is also another country I visited. Um, and I chose to do the vegetation because out of all the countries I've ever been to, the land, the scenery of Switzerland is just like breathtaking. I want to move there just for the views. Like it's so absolutely beautiful. This is just like a this is a 4 day vegetation map here. Um, and I wish I could have done a little longer, but I'm still working on my animation skills. I've never done it before until this semester. So it's something that I'm excited to kind of keep playing with and can continue to grow talent there. Um, but yeah, I highly recommend going to Switzerland if you ever get the chance, just to see it. So in conclusion, so problems I encountered and then what I gained. So two things I always struggle with in cartography are collecting data and the memorization of steps. I like to call it my mom brain. I just struggle with memorization nowadays. But the more I do it, the easier it gets for me. This time when I was doing these maps, I also realized that I have a harder time with theme and coloring, and then I thought I did, which is you know it's one of the things you just want to make it aesthetically pleasing, like I said, and then the coordinate system, which is something that we worked on this semester, and it's something I continue to grow with. Um, the struggles that I went through are not a bad thing. They push me to better myself every time that I create a map. And I think by continuing to create and doing it consistently, I'll be able to grow my talents. What I gained, which many things this semester, I gained a lot. Um, but what I learned from creating all these maps with the no guidelines, like different tools and data set collecting, um, the biggest thing I learned was that if you're passionate about something and you put forth the effort and the time, you can succeed on those goals. It's not always easy and you will fail at times, but if you keep pushing, eventually it's going to shine through. Thank you for watching.